Now that I have all my images imported into my original document that I created for the project, I can start to manipulate them much the same way you might manipulate different levels of a collage that you're creating in, from a piece of paper and perhaps like some pictures from a magazine. You'll notice again here, my main concern earlier was just to get my other pictures on top of this one. And the background is always what the layer is called of the document that you created. So when you make something from scratch, it will automatically put those dimensions and the resolutions and the color modes into your background layer. It always, as default, will be locked. You can just click it once and it'll unlock, and that unlock allows you to manipulate and have the other layers coordinate with the background layer. If you keep it locked, there will be a limited interaction between the subsequent layers and that bottom layer. You'll notice that the picture that I imported here is way bigger than my image. And if I use what's called my move tool over here, you can press the V key, as in Victor, for a shortcut. And after a while, you kind of get used to the shortcuts. The keys that I often use are V, B, the bracket keys, and there are a number of others which I'll get to. But anyways, you can see now what I'm doing is I'm using my move tool, and what I'd like to do is I just want to show you that the layer, even though you can't see the whole thing, you can think of your document as kind of a document window right now, that you're seeing the entirety of the resolution of the image. If you don't, or if you are not able to select layers, for example, by just clicking on them intuitively and moving them, there are some options. The tool options are up here, and you can make sure that auto select layer is selected, and that will allow you to kind of intuitively go, I want that, click, hold, drag, and you can move it. What I'd like to do now is I want to resize my my images a little bit so that they will look more plausible in the project that I'm creating. I have the move tool selected now, and I can see that this image that I got of the beach is way, way bigger than my document size. And how can I change the size of that? What I'll do is go into Image. Oh no, I won't do that. What I want to do is I want to shrink the size of my beach to make it a more appropriate setting for the document that I want to eventually create. And the way that I do that, oh my God. What I want to do now is I want to resize my beach to try to give more of a stage for Godzilla and my happy selfie folks that are going to go down here. What I want to do first is I want to resize this layer, and the way to do that is I'll go into Edit. You can scroll down to Transform, and then you can go to Scale, or you can press the Command key and T, or I think it's Control T in the PC. You can see here that I have a bounding box around this picture which shows the actual dimensions of it compared to my original document. What I want to do is I need to zoom out on this if I really want to resize it properly. So I'll click on my zoom tool and I'll press the Option key. By default, the zoom tool goes into a zoom mode, but if you want it, you can actually manually click on it, or I usually leave it in the zoom in mode. And then I just press the Option key and or the Alt key, and then you can click and it'll go down. There, I'm pressing the key there. You can see the symbol changing. Now I'll do it again, and there is a way to do it. I'll give you keyboard shortcuts, but what I want to do is I want to transform this layer to try to make it smaller. And that's what zooming out on the entire artboard does is it allows me to see the outside of the entirety of the image. So what I can do is around here you can start to rotate it, you can do all kinds of different things, but right now I'm just scaling it, which is only going to allow me to move it in terms of size. And so what I'm trying to do here is it's constraining the proportions for me. And what I'd like to do is I just want to have something perhaps like that. I'll put Godzilla maybe over here, and maybe my people will be over there. We'll see how it goes. But again, this is just by way of explaining how to resize your layers. If I double click, or if I press return, then that will set the resize of the layer. Note that when I do that, it doesn't permanently change the size of that layer until you start to save it or flatten the layers that you're using. If I want to move this image over and kind of adjust it, I need to use the move tool. The move tool's up in the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'll do something like this. I think it's good enough to have a little bit of a tree there. I'll have Godzilla over here. Now what I want to do is I want to get Godzilla up on top, but the first thing I have to do is I have to clean Godzilla up. And the reason is because, for example, if I want to move this layer up on top of my background, Godzilla has this white background that he's been shot with in a studio. So I need to select Godzilla, and we'll go over selections in the next video.